as well.
The backbone of the British history has always been the man in a shed, and that's why we're here, the heart of Gloucestershire. I'm standing beside Stuart and this beautiful grey MEV Kit Car, which some people might say MEV, but it's not, isn't it?
It used to be. The brand was Mills Extreme Vehicles, and then in 2019 Stuart Mills sold the brand and the Exocet to us. We rebranded to MEV Kit Cars.
MEV Kit Cars, which is this baby in here. This is your basic model.
Yes.
Right. Because we got 3 cars in here, just to let the viewers know. We're going to go through all the 3 cars. So the basic car, or is it a basic car?
There's nothing basic about the Exocet. It's a road-going weapon. It's a lot of fun, and the cars themselves have a long history in being an easy-to-build, cost-effective sports car.
Because you can buy this car from you as a complete car, or the viewers, or anybody who's interested, they can buy this car and build them themselves, like all the kit cars in the UK. And this is not based on a Ford, which is most kit cars based over 6 decades, if I'm right?
Yep. No, it's based on the Mazda MX5. We realised the Fords as a donor were becoming more expensive, more difficult to get hold of, and the Mazda MX5 was a perfect platform, front engine, rear wheel drive, front and rear independent double wishbone suspension, limited slip diff on most of them as well, so the platform as a donor worked really well.
Because on Fords you had the limitation of live axles, especially Mark 1, Mark 2 Escorts, and coming on, you know, all the way from there, solid axles, so you went independent.
That's right.
Which is better?
Yes, definitely, yeah. You get a lot more feedback through the car. The car moves around much more compliantly when you've got that rear axle. Double wishbone suspension means it moves around more efficiently as well, so yeah, much better setup. And
right now, Mazda MX-5 is the cheapest car to buy for braking, really.
Yes.
Rear-wheel drive, because BMWs, you can't really get BMWs, and they're not super reliable, the small engines, because they've all been rammed.
Yep.
The next best thing is not next best thing, isn't it, at the moment? Because you got the Mazda.
Yep.
Not that many cars is rear-wheel drive anymore. You can get Mercedes, but it's completely different story. It's too heavy, it's too nose heavy, it's not going to be working in this environment.
That's right, yeah. So the Mazda MX-5 was a perfect platform. It's got a 4-piston, normally aspirated engine up front, and the gearbox is anyone that's driven a Mazda knows how nice the gearbox is. There's no clunkiness. It's just like a rifle bolt sliding in and out. I drove Mazda MX-5 years ago, done a review with the Mazda MX-5, and they're just fantastic to drive. It's just so smooth. Yep. You go through the gears, and that car was like 15, 16 years old as well. A Mark II I drove, 1.8, and it's lovely. They are very nice, very nice to use as a donor. Yes, so all about the talking is might as well jump into one of the cars and have a quick drive around with it, and just to see how these cars feels on the road. Right, ladies and gentlemen, we're gonna go for a little spin with the cheapest version, without the big wing. Lovely bit this summer. Well, it's a springtime still, isn't it?
Yeah, it's beautiful. Blue sky, bit of cloud, maybe a bit of rain.
It's been some time I've been in a kit car. This is so weird, you know, you can see the edge of the tire.
Yes.
It's amazing. It's a very different experience than like the enclosed kit cars.
Yeah.
I previously drive and I owned.
A lot more exposed.
Yes, you are. But I like it, you can smell the engine.
Yeah.
No, I love it. It's very smooth on the road.
Yes, we've built this one to work as well on the road as it will on the track. With a few tweaks of the suspension, it'll stiffen everything up and make it much more focused on the track. But turn the dampers down, soften it off, and it makes for a very nice road car.
It sounds lovely as well. You can hear everything. Oh, it's amazing. It's like being in a race car, really.
Yeah.
does shift quite lovely.
Oh yeah. Very smooth engine and gearbox that we've used on this car.
I know everybody loves these Mazda gearboxes. They're the smoothest gearbox
They are very nice, yeah.
you can buy, really.
Yeah.
I mean, talking about the budget as well, you know, for the money you spend on a MX5 donor car
Yeah.
to build one of these cars, it's nothing really.
No, the cars are less than £1,000 now for the Mark III cars. And for that you get the 2-litre engine, 6-speed gearbox, limited slip differential, traction control, ABS, power steering. So all the modern toys in the kit car.
And there's not much to go wrong in here, you've got nothing, no extra.
No aircon, no stereo.
You don't need a stereo when you got an engine and the sound like that. Would be silly to put one in there.
Hey, there are customers that have done it. Stereo and some speakers behind the headrests. But everyone gets to hear what you're listening to.
Yeah, and if you got a bad taste, everybody know about it. Yeah. That's more like it. Quite a short time you can get to this national speed limit, is it?
Very easy to get there.
Nobody got stuck behind you, really. Lovely acceleration. But I quite like this independent suspension in the back. You can feel it is absorbing the road.
It's-
You know,
it
we're
makes
coming
it-
down in a really uneven road at the moment.
Yeah, it does. It just soaks up the bumps and the little potholes. Just rides over them very nicely. It's not as crashy as the older Star suspension setup. So much,
Yeah, but you got the solid beam in the back.
Yeah.
It feels completely different, this one and that one.
Yes.
Completely different.
And with the 6-speed gearbox as well, you can sit at 2,000 RPM, 50 miles an hour. It's not loud and intrusive. It cruises really well as well.
Yes, this is actually pretty quiet for an open top
Yes.
race car, really. Because we can call it a kit car, but it's actually a race car.
Yeah, so it's a road-going race car.
So what makes this kit car special compared to other kit cars?
So we took the opportunity to reinvent the kit car when we designed the Exocet. Instead of going the old box section throughout, we've taken a tube and built the chassis using tubes instead. Much stronger, much easier to work with, looks prettier as well. And going for the exoskeletal style means you've not got doors and windows and windscreens. It's raw, so the effect is much more an assault on your sensors.
You still got a small amount of windscreen.
Yeah, a little. It won't stop you getting wet in the rain. It
Right.
just helps with the pushing the air over your head rather than into your chest.
And because we are in England, occasionally it rains.
Yep.
So what are the options when you're raining? What's happening?
Wear a jacket.
Cheap.
It's exactly the same as
Oh,
if
yeah.
you're on a bike. If you were riding
Exactly.
a bike, you'd still go out in the rain. You wouldn't worry about getting wet, and you'd still have some fun.
And I guess when you actually, I'm just out of curiosity, when you're getting a bit of rain in there, you're probably pushing off most of
It
it
does,
anyway,
yeah.
so it's not going to be any.
And you're either wearing some glasses or you're wearing a lid, so you're not going to get that wet.
Can you drive that without the lid? Just drive it like,
Pair of decent sunglasses. Yep, definitely.
because that's what most people are interested really, you know, when you're driving one of these kit cars, you know, these days you have to have a minimum comfort, you know, like you drive it with the shades, you don't need helmets on, you know,
Yeah.
so.
No,
Yeah.
we've made it so it will still work, and you'll still be able to have as much fun without a helmet.
Yes. And this kit, if I like to buy it and I like to build it, how difficult is it to get into it?
If you know one end of a spanner from the other, then you can build an Exocet. We've designed this car to be the simplest car to build on the market. From stripping down your donor, unplugging all the wiring loom, disconnecting all the brake system, you learn how to put this car together when you take it apart.
If I buy one of these, what I need for it, just an MX5?
Just an MX5 and our kit. Everything else is either in the kit or on your original car.
That's not too bad, because one of these, if I say it right, it's 4,995 plus VAT.
That's right.
So if you buy one of them, buy a rundown or an MOT failure MX5 for less than £1,000.
Yes.
So it's not that expensive, and had difficulties to get these through IVA test, because that's the biggest fear with everybody these days, you know, I mean.
Yeah, everyone wants it so they can use it on the road. It's a very straightforward process. It's about £500 to take it through the IVA. Our chassis and our kit has been designed to take away all the complexities, because we're running all the standard suspension and the steering rack, the pedals, the gearbox, the rear axle is all standard MX5. Things like self-centering steering wheels that people have problems with in the past. It's all Mazda, so you shouldn't need that. The brake balance is set up because it's all using Mazda's running gear. So you don't have issues like that. It's edge trim, sharp edges, putting radiuses on things. So when you're building that kit, you realise things like putting nut covers on nuts just to protect them, not only for getting it through the IVA, just so you don't catch your leg on it when you're getting in and out.
And rust.
And rust, yeah, exactly.
Because it's easier, because if you grease it up, pop it on,
Yep,
never going to have any problem with it. Suspension, independent front suspension, that's all coming out from the MX5, and the coilovers as well?
Coilovers, with the earlier Mark 1 and Mark 2 donor, you can use the original shocks, just put some softer springs on. With the Mark 3 and the RX, we offer a suspension package as well, which is coilover adjustable from Gaz.
Because it's being a Mazda MX5, it's cheap to get these bits as well. So if you need brake, shocks, anything else, it's going to be readily available, because it's everywhere, isn't it? It's
Everything is available off the shelf at your local motor factors.
And that's the main thing when you're building these kit cars, so you can buy the bits for it. So not just, it's a one time you build it and it's going to, because most people think when you see a car like this, it's going to be very expensive, but it's not, isn't it?
It's not. It's the most cost-effective way to build a kit car is using the X-Set and the Mazda MX5. Everything's available off the shelf: wishbones, bushes, suspension, brakes, fuel system. Everything's available off the shelf.
You used to driving these because you're racing them as well?
Yes, we run the race championship as well, which has got a number of the earlier X-Sets based on the Mark 1 and the Mark 2. Turbocharged, about 280 horsepower, 700
280 horsepower?
Yeah. They're absolute lunatic weapons. So much fun to drive. These are quite tame in comparison. These will still light the tyres up if you really press on, but the turbocharged versions are just absolute animals.
What's this? 150 horsepower?
About 168, 170 horsepower, yeah.
170.
And just under 600 kilos.
Which is rapid, really. Because you're so light, you're feeling the power delivery so much more.
Yes.
You know, when somebody say like, oh, it's only 160, 70 horsepower, it's not that, you know, it's not a lot. But if you work that power ton,
yeah, when you're nearly just under 600 kilos, that's nearly twice the power to weight. So you can double the power.
So what's the actual figures, 0 to 60 in this?
0 to 60 is about 4 seconds, and top speed is about 140 miles an hour. But when you're doing, as you know, when you're doing 60 miles an hour, it feels like 100.
Oh yeah, but absolutely. But that 4 second, that's quite amazing.
Yeah.
So we're beside this orange one, which has already got a bit of a tuning on it. We got a wing on it. Looks a bit more funky, but as I've been told of the camera, it's not that much difference between the two cars because they are identical.
These two here, the orange one and the grey one, are based on the Mark III MX5, so 2006 to 2015 donor vehicles. Both 2-litre engines, both 6-speed gearboxes, limited slip diff, about 170 horsepower out of the box. So yeah, they're just bog standard, nothing fancy on them, other than the paintwork and the colour scheme.
Yeah, because what I want to ask you as well, you can buy these tuning parts at your place.
Yep, everything you see here is available through our shop. So the wings, the wheels, the brakes, the aftermarket steering wheel and bosses, the harnesses, everything's available on the shop.
Excellent. And this is like an upgraded version of that car, really, because when somebody come and look at it like I did the first time, I thought like, that's a bit more funky.
Yep. Yeah, it's just adding those little personal touches to your car when you've built it. The best thing about building your own car is it's your car and you build it how you want it and you make it look how you want. There's very rarely two the same.
If I like to order one, I can have a turquoise
Yes.
frame,
Bright orange panels.
whatever I want.
Yeah, you could be pink, You could have a pink chassis. We've had a few pink chassis made. There's one customer that went pink chassis and green panels, which was quite bold, but the combo really works. I'm looking forward to seeing that one on the road. You won't miss it.
Yeah, definitely not. And you want to build something is funky. You're building a kit car, you shouldn't be blacked out all the way. You want to be noticed on the road because
you're driving quite a low car anyway. With a, it's not easily visible if you're in a big truck. So you want to be as leery and as loud as possible. And you don't very often get the chance to go big and bold when you're buying a car. So here's your opportunity.
You can buy all the colors of black.
Yeah, black and more.
Black, grey or white, exactly. Now this is lovely. And I think we're going to move to the car, which is I think the most spectacular looking in here right now. That's what people don't understand about kit cars. Kit cars is a cheap form of getting something ridiculously quick.
Yes. Yeah, you don't need to be doing 120, 130 miles an hour to have fun. You can be having a lot more fun at 50 miles an hour, but getting there a lot faster.
Especially if you take it to a track.
Yes, we've got a couple of customers who have expressed a lot of interest in it. So we've got a gentleman coming over later on this week, potentially looking to buy it as well. So
this very car?
This very car, yes.
I hope you're going to go with the big option as well.
I think he's interested, yes. Just finishes the car off. Just makes it look even more crazy.
Oh yeah, it does. It does. It absolutely does. Yeah, so next stop, you'll be going France this afternoon, you said, to Monte Carlo.
Oh yes, yeah, down to the south of France. Grab a glass of wine and head back in time for breakfast.
I think it's got enough speed you can make it back as well. But don't take the motorway route. Take the B roads down to Monte Carlo.
Country roads all the way there.
Right, Stuart, this is funky. This is really funky. Got a big wing on it, which is like every boy's boyhood dream. That's the first thing you notice on a car. And apart from its really funky color with this orange, white stripes, green, it's just mind-blowing, isn't it?
It is. It's such a beautiful car. I'm really pleased with this one.
What was the idea on that? Because I think it's brilliant. You know, that's like it's a proper race car.
It started out as let's make it look as bold and as daring as possible, and by the time we'd finished it, we said the one part that's missing is something on the back end. So we got the biggest spoiler we could find. We designed some mounts with help from our sister company in the States, and we just went crazy. That was the whole idea of this car.
I think it looks brilliant. You know, it's out of the world, this car, but it's a bit more to this car than the other cars.
It is, yes. Looking at the Mazda MX5, the Mark III, we quickly realised the underpinnings were very, very similar to the Mazda RX8. So the front and rear subframes were very similar. The floor pan, apart from it being longer, was almost identical. So we've seen a few customers, a few people in the past who have transplanted RX8 engines into the Mark III. And we said, well, we've got a chassis, let's see if it fits. We stripped the car down, we put our chassis on top and worked out what differences need to be done, and we said let's make it work. Let's expand what we offer from not just the MX5, but let's use the RX8 as well. It's a car that has so much history. The rotary engine powered Mazda cars, which is again why we went for the colour scheme. It was a nod back to the 787B Le Mans winner, because it's the first kit car that uses an entire RX8 donor in the world. We said let's tip our caps to the 787.
So it's not a 4-pot, it's full on.
It's full on
RX8.
231 horsepower, rotary powered engine.
And you can tune them to crazy if you really wish.
You can do anything you can do with a rotary engine, you can do with this. There's customers out there cranking up the rev limit to 12, 13,000 RPM. They're putting more rotors on to increase the capacity. So anything that you can do to a rotary engine, you can do in this car.
So if we talk about all three cars,
Yeah.
price-wise, what's the difference? You know, because you put all the R&D into this one as well to make this car, so it's super unique.
Yep.
So what's the difference in price? They start from 4,995.
There's £1,000 on this one. It's 5,995. And
So
with
it's not.
No. With that, we do a few modifications. What we realised when we were building the car is the prop shaft and the PPF, which are the backbone of the car, was obviously longer. So as part of that price, we modify those and supply those as included with the kit.
Okay, so you're using still the same prop shaft coming out from the car, so you don't need to modify that. So there's
We do
no
that for you.
expenses.
We do that for you. It's all included in the price.
Really? Because just let anybody know, when you're modifying a prop shaft, it could be up to £1,000.
Yep.
Just out of experience, my friends build cars and they said, you know, modifying a prop shaft is not a cheap process and it's lengthy as well, because sometimes it takes you months and months and months.
Well, we realised the average home builder doesn't have that facility to be able to modify that, to be able to send it off to a company and explain to them the length, the differences that are needed. So we said, give us yours when you're stripping the car, we'll modify it for you, and if we've got one on the shelf, we'll just do it as an exchange. Makes the process so much easier for you.
It's fantastic. I think it's a brilliant idea.
You love it as well. I'm gonna have to build another one just for me for the summer.
Really?
Yeah. Coming to work in a car like this, on days like this, absolutely.
No, it's amazing, isn't it? Yeah, it drives. I mean, I've not driven it, but it drives nice. It feels nice. I'm quite surprised how not bouncy it is, you know. Owning different kit car, just mine was, even with the tall tires, was more bumpy.
Yeah.
I think, ladies and gentlemen, that's a place to visit and is open to the public.
Yeah.
Somebody can come down in here to look at you.
Yeah, give us a call, make sure we're here. If we're not at a show or if we're not out racing, we'll be here.
That's another thing I want to ask about Stuart as well, because we're going to jump inside the building and there is quite a few things inside where you can see the bare chassis and you can see his race car, because you're racing one,
Yeah,
or racing two, or racing three.
two, myself and Sylvie, both race.
So it's a proper race heritage family running MEV. So it's not just somebody want to make money building a kit car. You put your heart and soul into this, and you're racing them. So you're developing as you are racing them as well. So it's not just a one-off shot. We sell cars. No. You actually live, breathe MEV kit cars.
We want to show that our cars can hold their own, whether it be road, track, or race. And being on the grid with a load of other kit cars and showing them the back end of our cars is the best way to do it.
Ladies and gentlemen, find them on the internet. I'm gonna leave you a link in description how to find them and phone them. And also you do loads of other stuff as well in here. So it's a lot more stuff to find out about you, because you do brake conversion, you do spacers, you do a lot of things, which is, if you needed something like that, that's the man to find. Or a lady behind the camera, because she's helping us today. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed today's episode. And if you haven't subscribed yet, please do so. Follow Stuart up and Sylvie in their journey and find MEV Kit Cars. Thank you so much for watching. Bye.